It's under 2 weeks until the start of the Volcom Pipe Pro, with the surfing world looking forward to a critical start to the 2015 season. On Oahu, winter swells have finally arrived, and a feeling of anticipation seems to be blowing in with the trade winds. For O'Brien, becoming one of the North Shore's leading watermen is a story that's already in the making. Victory at Pipe would cement that reputation.
Over in Hawaii, we concentrate on surfing pipelines. That's our everything. You know, it's like you're born right into it. You don't have a choice.
For now, Rothman seems content as an up-and-coming surfer setting a new standard for youngsters in waves of consequence. Many of his peers expect big things of him when the contest gets going.
I feel like I have a good understanding at Pipe. I would love to win.
As for Lau, it's not that long since he had to make a tough decision about his sporting future. Like all life's choices, the conclusion lies ahead, not yet known. But if Lau has his way, it's a future of life on the world tour. The ultimate dream for most pro surfers.
When it comes game day, you gotta be willing to perform. You gotta love the struggle, you gotta love every part of it. You gotta love the good and the bad.
For Kalani Chapman, he is following a rich tradition within his family of conquering the North Shore's waves. Indeed, he's harnessing that heritage and looking to feed off what the past meant to the Chapmans.
You can definitely feel some weight on your shoulders. There's a lot of connection, like with emotion out there.
With the buzz around the Volcom Pipe Pro beginning to heat up, the surfers look to take aim and adjust their sights accordingly. For young surfers across the globe, the feeling of being stuck in the classroom and missing out on waves is all too familiar. But for the students of Sunset Beach Elementary School on Oahu's North Shore, this feeling is amplified, as across the street is the world's most prestigious wave, Pipeline.
We're at Sunset Beach Elementary School. It's where Kalani Chapman and I went to school. Actually going to show you one of Kalani's favorite spots to hang out while he was cutting school besides Pipeline. Sunset Beach Elementary School should be called Pipeline Beach Elementary School because it's right across the street. Let me tell you, it was really easy to leave school and go next door to Pipeline. We were cutting early.
Sometimes we could convince our parents to let us stay home when the waves were real good. You know, we'd like tell them how, you know, there's photographers and we gotta like shoot pictures or make up some story.
You just jump on the school roof and check the waves.
We're little surf rats mainly, you know, so we just wanted to surf a lot, you know. Sometimes that got in the way of school.
This is the next generation of North Shore Chargers in this school right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, early memories, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, we were already best friends. I remember getting in the most trouble I've ever gotten, you know, elementary school with Kalani. Yep, there it is, Kalani. Your name's right there.
Oh my God. Are you
gotta check
kidding
it out.
me?
That's where we used to cut school.
Too funny. This was our little zone we found to get away from the teachers, so. Yeah, I haven't been back here in probably, I don't know, 20 years. We love doing the same thing, surfing Pipeline, and we're best friends from the start, so of course we're not going anywhere.
As a young kid, it's a dream come true. You go to school here, you get the playgrounds right here, and then you cross the street and there's another playground right out in front of your house.
O'Brien's playground only became reality after a tough decision by his parents to relocate the family to a place right by the beach at Pipe.
Pipeline is such a special place because this is where I'm born and raised, where I live. This is where my dad lives. This is where I got spit out of my first barrel. At age 5, my dad made this decision, this power move, to move to Ehukai Beach Park, which is 2 blocks away or a block away from Pipeline. And my mom was not stoked.
You know, I wanted my son to grow up on the beach. There was some little things going on underneath that didn't really realize, you know, it was like the missus wasn't really happy at all.
We lived there with my mom for about a month, and then she bailed.
Set us back a lot, but I ended up raising Jamie and his sister Christine on the beach at Pipeline. I was just going to make sure my kid was going to grow up on the beach and, you know, be a part of that, because surfing's such a great sport.
My dad saw it as, hey, I want my kids to be, you know, in the ocean. I am a lifeguard. I work right here next to this lifeguard tower. This is the great opportunity. He was dedicated and he wanted this dream to happen. You know, my dad took it and he ran with it all the way.
Being dad and watching your kid at the most dangerous place in the world is quite interesting. You know, child protection could have come and taken him away from me anytime. You know, broke his left leg going left, his right leg going right. Get back out there, what are you doing? You know, it's perfect today. You know, it's 12 foot and he's 12. Yeah.
You know, I think where my success came from in surfing is definitely Pipeline. It was an outlet. It was something I was born and raised doing. If I look back, the only person I could thank is my dad.
The wave shaped Jamie and Jamie shaped the wave. You know, everything just seems to fit. He's setting the standard. You want to surf pipe good, you know, you're looking at Jamie O'Brien. The bottom line is he spent the time there, and he deserves to get the waves. He earned his respect out there. I'm proud of him. Yeah, there's a lot of competitive drive with Jamie at Pipeline. Damn right he wants to win the Volcom Pro and the backdoor shootout. There's nothing better than winning.
Kalani Chapman is on his way to see his uncle, surfing legend and North Shore pioneer Al Chapman. As a surfboard shaper of considerable fame, Al is going to help Kalani fine-tune the perfect board for surfing Pipeline.
It's a pretty special thing, you know. I'm stoked to be getting another one of his boards, and you know, he paid his dues and he got to surf with, you know, Eddie Aikau and, you know, even the Duke and a lot of old events. They used to have legendary events out here on the North Shore, and you know, he's just still out here and he's shaping and keeping the dream alive. Here's my Uncle Al surfing Waimea, I don't know, probably in the 70s. Here's my other Uncle Chappie, Gary Chapman. This is at Honolulu Bay, 1969. It was one of the biggest swells that, like, the Pacific Ocean had ever seen.
Al Chapman would play an integral part in the upbringing of his nephew, Kalani, during the youngster's formative years, as he played in the ocean along one of the most treacherous stretches of coastline on the planet.
He was just like any other kid that loved the ocean, and you know, you're just always worried about him, so you kind of watch him, right? But after a while, you learn, hell, they swim better than I do already. They're smarter than I am already. I mean, he jumped on a surfboard like he was born on it. Now, so what we're gonna do is make it a little thicker, a little wider, and a little longer. You'll be a lot more comfortable. 7'4" Pipeline, you got guts, kid.
But I really want to make it so it's real streamlined. Like,
we're gonna do that. Yeah. Now, right now, we're gonna take this off the rack. We're gonna grab your blank, all right? I want you involved in it. It's your board. You might think that it's a bunch of fun making surfboard, you guys, but it's a lot of responsibility when somebody's life is on the line at the Bonsai Pipeline, and especially my nephew. I have a lot of people come up to me and tell me, God, your nephew's an unreal person. He's so humble and so nice. He doesn't throw his weight around. He'll always wait and listen. He's really low-key. But when he hits the ocean, something happens. All of a sudden, you know, there's a monster inside of him. He let his surfing do his talking for him. Because you have mastered it, you cannot take it for granted. It's just as dangerous for you, as good as you are, as the guy who's half as good as you.
That's why I want to make a better board, for that reason. I'm just stoked to be able to like still like live in the name, you know, and like try and push the name, you know, the Chapman, Riley family name.
19.5, Kalani, or 19 3/4? I want you comfortable, but it's still got lots of speed.
Okay.
I think you have more power than you think you know, you really got more power than you know. You're strong. And if you can find a board that will hold that energy that you got inside you, you are going to be more dynamic than you've ever been. I mean, I know deep down, you know, he wants it and he deserves it. You know, he's as ready as you can be and he's as good as you can get.
With just under 2 weeks until the Volcom Pipe Pro, the waves on the North Shore have been less than favorable. Today, Cole Rothman is staying busy by training with close friend and fellow pro surfer, Eli Olson.
I'm actually pretty sore from falling so much the past week at Pipe.
Lit to the back of my head did not feel good.
We stay pretty active though. People get really bored here, but we dive, we hunt, we fish, we train.
Not really too much training. I just want to make sure I'm surfing a lot. Because I feel like the best training for surfing is surfing, you know?
Ready? Yeah, go. One, two, slip, two. Again.
We've been training here since we were like 10 or something.
Tiny,
like
yeah.
in the same dojo, like we started jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, so I mean, it's just what we've been doing forever.
Yeah, I feel like lifting weights and stuff, you get really tight and stiff, and then I feel like that's not too good for surfing. We definitely do a lot more body weight and cardio.
The benefits of training is one of the most hotly debated topics amongst surfers. However, for Rothman and Olson, maintaining an active lifestyle out of the water goes a lot further than being physically ready to surf.
There's people who stay busy, who are training, and then there's people who have way too much time on their hands who start getting bored and start partying and getting caught up in the wrong things. I know so many people who are so talented and just went to rock bottom, you know, and just threw away like what could have been huge careers.
I just do it to stay in shape when, like, today when the waves aren't good, just so you have something to do. But I mean, I'm not too big on training. I just do it to look good.
Rothman and Olson count themselves amongst a close pack of young surfers born and raised on the North Shore who've quickly made their mark amongst the notoriously competitive lineup at Pipeline.
We get aggressive all the time, probably without knowing it, you know? It's a lot of testosterone out there, and of course that's gonna lead to some competitiveness, especially amongst my friends, so that's good. You need some, I think.
Pipeline's crowd is probably the craziest crowd. The nice guy is not gonna catch waves out there. It's tough because you're hearing whistles, there's people pounding for your wave, you're yelling at people, you're jockeying, you're bumping into people. It's a scene, and Koa's really good at kind of tuning that out. He's really progressed so much over the years that he's starting to make a name for himself and build that respect. So like when people see him paddling for a wave, they're gonna kind of know and start pulling out, you know? And that's something that takes a lot of time out there. He's definitely progressed so much over the years, and he's had a really good result at the Volcom Pipe Pro before. So I feel like he's definitely got some drive to do well.
Among the suburbs of Honolulu, Hawaii, lies the prestigious Kamehameha School, an academic institution exclusively for children of Hawaiian blood. One of the coaches at the school's renowned sports department is Leonard Lau, whose son Ezekiel would flourish in many sports during his time as a student athlete.
The athletic program here at Kamehameha, the standards are very high. They have a long history of championships and championship caliber student athletes. You know, it carries huge on the shoulders of all the students who come here, you know, to be champions not only in the classroom, on the field, but also in the community as Hawaiian people. Both my wife and I kind of grew up in homes where athletics and academics were very strong. So we grew up that way, so it kind of just manifested in our family.
After practice or after games, it was always like, hopefully I had a good game so Dad would take me surf or something. So, you know, surfing was almost like a reward, and I'd be or bummed if I couldn't get in the water that day.
I was more of a football guy, but I didn't want that to be forced upon him. I wanted it to be his own decision.
The culture of respect, discipline, and hard work that Leonard Lau instilled in his son Ezekiel would bring the youngster success in both high school sports and surfing. However, at a young age, Lau faced a decision about which path he would take.
It was tough because we were trying to balance that whole lifestyle out and trying to find out, you know, where his future was going to lie. You know, was it going to be on land or was it going to be in the water?
You know, looking at how I was performing in, you know, my other sports and how I was performing in my surfing was obviously a big gap. I mean, I was good enough to play probably in high school and college and other sports, but, you know, it was a whole different story in surfing, and I think my dad saw that.
Well, I think the last time I sat here to watch Zeke play, they won their league championship, you know, and so that was a special time because that was the last time he laced up the cleats.
Lau's decision to focus on surfing was rewarded with a successful junior career. Now, as he looks to qualify for the Elite World Tour, the influence of his early days competing in team sports at Kamehameha is evident in his approach to surf contests.
When you're involved with these team sports, you do a lot of training and preparation, and you're preparing for games, you're preparing to win a championship with your team. So the whole preparation side, I felt like I got more of an edge. I'm used to training, I'm used to getting ready, preparing myself, my body, my mind for the day I have to compete or the day I have to perform. You know, I've been just competing since I was little, so I mean, that's all I know how to do, and I just love the whole aspect of competition.
After a tough 2014 season, Lau must now harness his natural instincts to compete as he looks to kickstart his qualifying campaign in 2015 at the Volcom Pipe Pro.
I think the last 2 years he hasn't really had great starts here at the Volcom Pipe Pro. I think the last couple of years he was just kind of going into the event just to have fun and just see where he's at, but now he realized how important it is to have a good result here.
It's great to still have him in my corner, and it has pushed me and taken me to places that I probably couldn't have taken myself. So to have a dad that has been in my life and so supportive of what I do has been great.
I just want to make sure that wherever he goes, he represents himself, our family, and Hawaii the best that he can.
Most consider merely catching a wave at Pipeline as an achievement in itself. For those who dream of winning a contest here, it's a work in progress which began at a very early age. For Lau, it's clear that the path he chose was led by instinct and that his aim was true, with the backing of a devoted family, not least of all his father Leonard. It's possible that the dream can become reality. Hard work will certainly play its part.
It's about pushing yourself to limits that you never knew you could push yourself to. I mean, you gotta treat every heat like it's your last.
Meanwhile, Rothman continues his apprenticeship in big waves. Time has been served by him at Pipeline, but this is a job at which it takes years to become a master craftsman.
If I do good, that would be a good chance, you know, to really put my name out there more.
For O'Brien, the sacrifice of family life in a stable unit is now a thing of the distant past. The outcome of that sacrifice is evidenced whenever he takes off on a wave at Pipeline. But what more does he crave from this special place?
Winning contests out here, it's more of a thing for your family and a pride thing.
Chapman continues a lineage well documented in the history of surfing's colorful characters. In the hands and hearts of elders, he places trust.
He's the guy that you know can get the job done. Nobody rides the place like the guy who lives there.
How that trust translates to performance could be a matter settled at the Pipe Pro.
It runs in the blood, you know. I feel like this is what I'm meant to be doing.
Pipeline, the wave which sets the standard for those who wish to be amongst surfing's elite. What standard that is will be decided by the surfers who contest the crown, by which surfer who lays claim to be the king of pipeline. The Volcom Pipe Pro will be the battleground.